Part 3 of the convenience. What is different about her? A lot of tension in the house today. My one daughter is clinging to her mom because she and I got into it last night over her bad behavior. She was teasing and tormenting her sister and I had told her several times to knock it off, but she kept doing it soon as I walked away. So, I snuck back and caught her red-handed and yelled at her to get upstairs, do her bedtime routine and go to her room. Well, I guess I scared her. She ran upstairs screaming for mommy, had an emotional meltdown at bedtime and is wary of me today so far. I've asked her to talk with me about it and asked the W to encourage her to talk to me, but she's not ready. I guess I'll just wait it out till she comes around. The D papers were mailed Thursday and they arrived at our post office today, but the W didn't make it over to the post office yet. She'll probably get them Monday. I looked at 2 apartments today, for myself. Not shared, and 2 houses. The apartments were nice but too expensive. The one house was okay, good size, decent condition but way too much yard work. More than I have now at my current house. The other house is very nice. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, full basement for storage, small yard, and it's privately owned. A couple bought the house, totally renovated it with intent to sell and make some money. Then the market crashed. So, they are holding onto it and renting to select people. I'm on that list. The price is within my budget range too. That's all for now. No recent talk from the W about her fixing things. She just texted the OM Friday telling him all about my apartment proposal to keep the kids in their house. He replied back sorry about all this or something to that effect. Must have pissed her off because she texted him back your sorry is just a reaction. Tonight, at supper time she started in on me again about her colonoscopy appointment. This coming week, whining about not having anyone to help her, pleading with me to do it, saying her health is at risk and that could hurt our girls if something happened to her. It hurt, but I held my position that she's got to work it out. I told her if her OM was so loving and caring I'm sure he would do it since her health is at risk. I told her what she's asking for is the type of support a loving husband provides and I'm no longer that person. She was stewing by then, so I went and made dinner for the kids. Then made something for me, but of course it was enough for 2 people. Before I left to go see a movie for myself, I told her supper was on the stove. Well, tomorrow is another day. Hopefully a peaceful one. We had a good Sunday together. Thank God. This morning my one daughter who was avoiding me just started talking like nothing happened between us. We did eventually sit down and talk about the incident, exchange apologies and hugs. I have to credit my W. I asked for her help getting through to our daughter and she did help bring us together for a talk. My other daughter is a daddy's girl. She likes going places and doing things with me. We went to the car parts store to get a few things I needed to prepare my muscle car for sale. So, we had a couple hours together to ourselves. I enjoy doing things with her. We just click very well. The guy interested in my car gave me a low ball offer. I declined and counter-offered. My feeling is the deal is dead based on his questions and poor offer. The W and I talked a while about what's ahead of us. She's worried sick about her financial future and ability to support herself. It isn't going to be easy for her. Her standard of living is definitely going to suffer. We still agree we want to keep the kids in our house as best we can. I told her I don't need to have the house. I'm open to her buying me out, taking it over or selling it and splitting the profits. She seems to want to try and keep it, unless she greatly improves her employment situation and gets her salary up in the mid to high 30s. She'll never be able to afford it. For me, I think the shared apartment idea is off the table. Too much interaction with her and leaves me wondering what's going on in the place. Right, I will continue looking for my own place more this week. So far, the one house close by is still my number 1 choice. The only thing holding me back from jumping on it is financial. I just made changes to my withholding and I want to see what the effect is on my take-home pay. The W told me today she's still upset I told my parents so much detail about our situation. I reminded her that I told them every terrible thing I had done as well and that my behavior played a major role in the failure of our marriage. She actually told me she feels shame and guilt about what she's done to our family and me. Wow, haven't heard that before. I told her that as painful as those emotions are, it's good that she feels them. It means the fog is lifting and she's getting in touch with her moral center again. I told her she can diminish those feelings by taking positive actions to change her life for the better. Those feelings and others are what kicked me in the back to get the help I needed. If she can pull herself up, that's good for her and the kids. But it doesn't really change anything for me. The years of emotional abuse from her affair coupled with the final blow of the weekend in a hotel suite with our girls ended it for me. My W works in a local hospital doing intake admissions and lab scheduling. Well, my mom had to come in for blood work and it was a cold situation. W emailed me to say my mom was in and she saw her, then turned away and ignored her completely. I asked my W what she expected. She replies that my mom's cold shoulder tells her how my parents are going to react to her. I said maybe it would have been better for her if my mom came over and jumped all over her crap in a public place. We just replied it doesn't matter, it's over now. I explained to my W that I asked my parents to treat her cordially and with respect, even though she doesn't deserve it. should they run into each other. No need for outbursts or shenanigans between adults. I did some internet research today about child support payments and temp alimony in my state. I ran the numbers, and at first glance it looks like my wife could just get by staying in the house if I had to pay her child support and temp alimony. She'd have like $100 left over each month. Talk about squeaking by. I fare a little better after all expenses. I'm scheduling an appointment with my attorney to sit down and get more accurate numbers. Would it be wrong for me to trade her financial support, paying a little more than required by law, in exchange for the 50-50 custody I want? You're probably asking, why do that? Well, I would like to get a custody agreement between us outside of the court system. I really don't want to drag my kids through interviews and hearings if I can avoid it. If she agreed, and we do this just during the deep process, then the custody precedent is set, and should it come to filing in court, I've got the upper hand since we've established status quo. The extra payment would only be temporary and outside the court system and agreed upon by her and I. If she files for child support or alimony, all bets are off and we do battle for the kids and minimum payout from me. That's what I'm trying to avoid, anything that will involve my girls in paying a lot of lawyer fees. I think I've got a pretty good handle on the child support and temp alimony payments by doing a lot of reading and research online. I will set up an appointment with my attorney to get his take and to see how close my numbers are. With 50-50 custody, it pretty much evens out the playing field. Even though I earn 75% of the total income after paying out for child and alimony, I end up with 55% of the combined income and she's at 45%. When the temp alimony ends after the D is final, then I end up with 65% of the total and 35% for her. She better have a much better paying job by then or she will sink fast. I asked her for some financial info like gross pay, retirement contribution to help me figure all this stuff out. She doesn't get pay stubs, and she declined because I won't take her to the procedure this Friday. She told me if I want something, then I better give her something. This is how it's going to be. I'll have to get court orders for every little thing because she just won't talk openly about what we need to do going forward. I was talking to my dad about all this and he said he would take her to her appointment. Wouldn't that screw with her head if I told her I got her a ride and it's my dad? She would never accept due to embarrassment. Better yet, I tell her I'll do it, but then my dad shows up to pick her up. Hey, at least I offered a real solution to her transportation problem. Housing update. I went to look at a half house at lunch today. It's shaped like two small ranchers stuck together at a 30-degree angle in the middle with a 2-car garage on each end. I had dismissed it because it was just over my budget limit by a little. One of the realtors I'm working with asked me about it. When I told her the rent was on my high side, she tells me I need to consider other factors. It has a well and sand mound, so no water, sewer bill. It has a modern geothermal heat air system that is 99% efficient, and all outside maintenance is by the owner. Also, it's half a mile from where my kids live and in the same school district. When I saw the inside, I knew this was the one. It's less than 10 years old with only one former tenant and everything is immaculate. Walls are nice, carpet looks new, ceramic tile in the kitchen and bath, newer, modern appliances, and it's vacant, ready to move into. Now if I could only get the 50-50 custody situated with my W, I could get the EFF out of my current emotionally tormented situation. Get this, my mom had her colonoscopy today, so she and my dad were in the hospital where my W works. Wife saw my dad and gave a wave of the hand hello. He waved back and walked over to her station to say hi. How are you doing today? She replied, doing the best she can. So, the tension between my mom and her from yesterday was eased a little by my dad approaching her and being polite. We finally picked up her divorce papers at the post office today. Didn't say anything about them to me though. She didn't bring the wage info I asked for, so no budget talks tonight. I printed out 2 articles I found on the web about the advantages and benefits of joint custody. She read them and then asked what I had in mind. I told her 50-50 with some kind of shared schedule that equals out our time. She has no clue, hasn't done any research or even much thinking about how we can do this. I told her I was playing around with different schedules today and had an example to show her. It was a 1 week on, 1 week off type, which splits up the kids' time pretty equally. Well, because of her work hours, she doesn't get home till 6:30 p.m. So, her week she gets the girls to school. Then I get them after school before she gets home. Then on my week I adjust my work hours so I take them to school and have a sitter before I get home at 5:30 p.m. So, since I get to see the girls each late afternoon during her week, because I'm getting them off school and watching them till she gets home, I wrote in an overnight for her during my week to balance things out. Well, she saw that I would see them Monday to Friday during her week and she doesn't during my week, but gets an overnight. She flips out on me saying that won't work. She doesn't get to see them on my week. It's too long without them and so on. Not true, since she gets an overnight, but to her that's not the same as me seeing them 2 hours each weekday. I told her I don't have to watch them, we can get a sitter. but by then her mind had closed off and she's just pissed off. I told her it's just a draft and we can work out details, but she wasn't in the mood to talk. She tells me it's a lot to think about and she needs to see her attorney before deciding. I know what she will do. She'll say she wants primary custody and ask if she can get it. The attorney will tell her yes, she can, and that will be her position. In the meantime, my number one realty choice is on the open market and I could lose it. And my number two choice will be on the market in 2 weeks. I'm going to have to just file for custody or risk losing out on 2 nice housing opportunities. But doing that will open up a hornet's nest with her. Life sucks sometimes. Well, school just started today. But our plan was supposed to be, assuming we were married and together. She gets them up into school and then I pick them up after school. Play, start homework. Start dinner till she gets home from work. This was the big plan for this year and both our work hours were conducive to this working out well. But with being separated, and with joint custody, it really screws with the schedule as I outlined previously. Last night in bed she tells me she got the D papers. She thought there would be more to them. What the hell? She also says to me she is scared about the future. She asks me, do you know how much you've done for me over the years? No crap, Sherlock. I respond, actually, yes, I do realize how supportive I've been. That's what makes what you did even harder to understand. You threw away a pretty good life. She pauses and replies, just like your alcohol addiction. I got caught up in an emotional addiction and I didn't know how to break out of it. She again tells me how upset she is I told my parents. She says, what if, down the road, we get back together? She says now she will always be the enemy. I reminded her that I spilled all my bad stuff too. She says it's not the same because I'm their son. True, I'll give her that one. She says we need this separation to figure ourselves out. I tell her I've figured out what I want and that is to be out of this marriage and move on with my life. And that's where we left it. We just found out I have my own bank accounts. She's fuming mad right now. Says I'm cutting her off. Says she wants the keys to our house now. Yeah, right. Says get my own PO box, I can't use our old one. She says she wants keys to my place, the one I don't even have yet. On and on she ranted. I changed my direct deposit to my new account, but during the changeover they issue a paper check. She found it in our mail and asked me why. So, I told her I have my own accounts. That's when she went off. I reassured her no one is getting cut off. I still have to support the household and our children, which means for the time being I must still pay the bills. I told her calmly that she can have all the autonomy she wants as soon as she signs the D papers. Assumes all responsibility for the house she will be living in and I'm moved out. Seems simple to me. I said until that happens, I still have access to our marital home and will continue to support my family. Then she tangents off to furnishings. She tells me you know all the furniture we got while we were married, so you can't just take some of it. Want to bet? My great-grandmother and grandmother willed to me a bedroom set and dining room table. Those are going with me, but the majority of the furniture will be staying with her except for these few items. I'm a nervous wreck at the moment. She got me all stirred up. Deep breaths, deep breaths. W calls me at work this morning. I'm on another call. See her call coming but can't get to it. She then calls my cell phone and asks, where are you? Are you at work? To which I tell her, yes, I'm at work. I was on another call. Then she asks me, did you take my cell phone? I can't find it. To which I reply calmly, no, I did not take your phone. In fact, I haven't even seen it around. I tell her I have no reason to take it. It's locked all the time anyway and I don't really care what she's doing on it now that I filed for D. She replies that I did take her cell once before. I correct her saying I took her secret cell, not her regular phone, and that was over 2 years ago. So, I tell her to look around, check all her hiding places. She tells me she'll keep looking. Wonder if I'll get an apology when she finds it. I never touched the darn thing. We found her cell phone. I saw it plugged into the wall charger last night. She didn't say one word to me about it. Not that she found it or any apology for accusing me of taking it. Pretty much what I expected. I had IC session last night. It had been almost 3 weeks since I last saw him. I filled him in on all the drama with the hotel suite. My kids and me filing for D. He was absolutely stunned and horrified at what she did. Last time we had talked it was right after our first restart of MC and there was some hope at that time. He's well aware of her antics and behaviors over the years since I've been seeing him. But this one took the cake. He fully supports my decision to D and get away from this crazy woman. Yep, that's what he called her, crazy. We both agree she has some serious mental and emotional issues going on that need to be dealt with in therapy. The poor woman needs help, but she can't see any of this from within herself. It makes me sad because I still love her but I cannot continue with her in a toxic relationship. Sometimes I think about all the emotional trauma she's caused me and the damage it's done. I feel scarred inside. What effect will this have on my next relationship? Will I be able to trust another woman with my heart and my love? Well, that's not something I need to worry about short term. Right now, I need to stay focused on my girls and separation. I'm not doing so well today emotionally. My 12th wedding anniversary is tomorrow and I'm really hurting inside for the loss of my marriage and the coming destruction of my family. She asked me today what my plans were. I told her I have no plans, no place to go, can't get a place until we reach some kind of agreement on a parenting plan. Then she says, well, you know what I want, which pissed me right off. I told her she doesn't deserve an ounce of what she wants after what she's done. She replied, there you go again getting upset. We won't be able to work anything out with you acting like that. I had to get up and leave the room before I did something I would regret. She took one of our daughters and went 2 hours north to visit her mom overnight. My other daughter stayed with me and she invited her best friend over for a sleepover. The two friends are having a great time. We went out to Friendly's for supper and to a real nice local playground. Right now, they are playing some video games till bedtime. This afternoon, after the W and daughter had left, I went into our bedroom to get the phone and saw a large lump under the bed covers. When I pulled back the comforter, there were 4 boxes of taffy, chocolates, fudge, and macaroons with a note. The note read, these were supposed to be a gift. Hope you enjoy them. What the hell? During our family vacation in July, we ran out of time to get taffy while we were at the beach and I was disappointed we didn't buy any. She knows I love saltwater taffy. But come on, what the hell am I supposed to do? Dive in face first and pig out on all this candy? I just piled it up on her nightstand for when she comes home from her mom's. There's no way I can eat any of that stuff after what's happened. W and daughter came home from her mom's late Sunday, our 12th anniversary. We didn't talk at all that night. Then yesterday was Labor Day holiday and we were both off work at home with the girls. We only said a few words, just enough to talk about supper plans and some of the girls' schedule this week. She did a lot of cleaning, doing things she hasn't done in 2 years like pulling out the frig and stove, moving the dining room furniture to clean behind, and lots of laundry. We avoided each other most of the day. Our daughters wanted to have a family game night, so they picked out a few games and the 4 of us played together. They had fun, but it was torture for me. My heart just wasn't into it, knowing that this is all probably going to end this month. It was bittersweet. I have an appointment with my attorney this afternoon to go over child support, temp alimony, and some other issues. I've been running financial numbers till I'm blue in the face. She's given it very little thought. I guess since I filed for D, she thinks I should work out all the details. It would be much better for us all if she would talk sensibly with me about the money and custody issues. Otherwise, I'll have to just file with the court system and then let her defend her position if she desires to do so. What really kills me is she is so irrational, illogical, and overly emotional in her thinking that I can't get through to her on very important issues. For example, she doesn't understand that even if she got the max allowed by law for child support and alimony, she won't have enough income to sustain the household. In 2 or 3 months she'll start going under and not be able to make the mortgage or other bills. That really bothers me because if she fails, we could lose our house. So, then I either let it happen, let her fall hard, at expense of our kids, or I once again prop her up to keep the house going, keep our kids in their house and not lose our shirts from a forced sale of the house. She's so unreasonable and she knows she has some limited control over me by doing what she does. The best scenario would be for me to stay in the house, her to get her own place, and we share the kids 50-50, but in her mind that situation lets me win or beat her in some way and she refuses to allow that. So, we are deadlocked at the moment. W and I haven't been able to talk more than 5 to 10 minutes on anything regarding the D and its outcome. She goes off quite easily and isn't open to logical thinking about the whole situation. The only thing in her mind is the kids should stay with her and they should stay in the marital home. And I get crap. I lose equal access to my children, the house I designed and built before we met, my classic car I bought before we met, half my retirement account, and so on. I am having an extremely difficult time rationalizing all this and it's eating me up inside. She had the affair, betrayed her husband and children, and comes out pretty good in the end. It's just not right, damn it. It should be the other way around. I'm in the house, with the kids, and she gets her own place. But there is no means of recourse to make this happen. I filed a no-fault divorce because all the evidence I have about the affair isn't admissible in court. I want the D and she is hell-bound to delay it to the very end for her own advantage, up to 2 years. So once again I'm in limbo land for a long period of time, just like the 3 years of her affair. But this time I'll be looking in from the outside. Now I know how some normally sane people can go postal. How much is a person supposed to take? I had a follow-up meeting with my attorney yesterday. He basically confirmed the child support and temp alimony numbers I had worked up. There would be some fine-tuning by the court, but I'm within a few dollars. Close enough to realize I'm screwed. Oh well, guess that's my punishment for getting married to a psycho cheater. He confirmed that I'm stuck living with her until either we agree on a custody arrangement or I file for custody. If I file, she will get served custody papers. First there will be a conference with me, the W, and a family court judge to see where we stand and try to reach an agreement. If we can't agree by the end of that meeting, then a hearing is scheduled which would involve counsel and an interview of our girls by the judge, followed by a court session without the kids to determine custody. Neither one of us wants to put our kids through this. But again, we are at an impasse right now. My attorney keeps telling me to work it out. How can I do that when my W doesn't think logically or practically about things? All her thinking is emotion-based. I haven't been talking to the W over the past few days except for short sentences about the kids or their schedule. Last night I texted her asking for us to talk again about custody and finances. She didn't respond to the text, but when she got home, she says to me, "So you don't talk to me for days and now you expect me to just strike up a conversation?" To which I responded, "My conversations are strictly limited to our girls and finances. I don't want to talk about how her day at work was, about the weather or anything else. Kids hurt us." W and I are caught off guard but recover quickly, realizing they still think we are only talking about D and not in the process of it. So, we ask them some questions about how they feel. W asks them, what if Daddy moves out? What if he's just down the street, 2 minutes away? You can still see Mommy or Daddy every day. Both girls stand their ground saying that's not good enough. They want both of us, 2 parents in the same house with them. They don't want other people in their lives, no step-parents or boyfriends, girlfriends. Daughter 1 explains that a family is supposed to be whole, not split apart. By now I'm starting to fall apart. My heart is breaking apart in my chest. W is crying, girls are crying. We share some hugs and W tells them we are just talking and everything will be alright. We will still love them with all our hearts. Daughter 2 turns to daughter 1 and says, "Come on, let's go finish our project so Mom and Dad can talk." And they head back downstairs. I'm at the point I can hardly breathe. My chest is so tight. I have to leave for a while, get away. I grab my keys, tell my girls I'm going to get the mail and will be back soon. Soon as I get out of the driveway I completely lose it. I'm bawling my eyes out, screaming at my W, pounding the steering wheel. I pull over in a parking lot because I cannot drive in this state. I cry for a good 15 minutes and then it stops and I just went numb. I sat there for an hour waiting for some kind of feeling to return, some spark of motivation to move, drive, do anything. Finally, I started the car and drove back home as there was nothing else left to do. The girls heard the garage door open and were waiting for me inside with their project. It was a picture they created on the computer of 2 people getting married with flowers all around them. They found an old picture frame and framed it. They told me the 2 people were Mom and Dad getting married and living happily ever after. I thanked them for the wonderful gift and we went upstairs to get ready for bed. W said nothing to me at bedtime or this morning. I have nothing to say to her. We're deadlocked on custody. I see no alternative except for me to file and run this through the courts. I just cannot get myself to accept second place, take a backseat when it comes to my kids. I'm an extremely capable, fully involved dad and I want my equal time with them. Having a bad morning today. Not feeling so good. Nerves are frayed at the moment. The only good thing so far this morning is my direct deposit to my personal account started, and I'm getting a little more take-home pay than I anticipated after dropping my retirement. STBX seems to have accepted the finality of our situation and is moving forward with her plans to be single. She ordered bedroom furniture yesterday, and she's anxious for me to remove anything that reminds her of me or our family, like my grandmother's furniture, our bed, the wedding dishes we were given. All she said about the attorney visit when I asked how it went was fine. She's still in contact with the other man. He's advising her with the divorce since he's been through it already. She talked about me wanting to work out support payments between us outside of court. He told her to file and get court orders to lock it in. Oh well, nothing I can do but deal with it when it comes. Custody is deadlocked. Basically, she will fight to the death to get primary custody. Seems that if I have a place within the same school district that it could sway things my way. So, I'm going to lease the place today. I called the realtor to let her know and I will pay the deposit at lunchtime today. I also just set up an appointment with my attorney for Monday to file for custody. She is very two-faced with me. She puts on a sad, sympathetic, understanding, willing to talk type face with me. But with others she is stone cold and exhibits a ruthless mentality. This custody issue is going to be very ugly, and it pisses me off. All I'm asking for is to continue the situation we have now, which is that both of us share in and are part of our children's lives, like we've been doing for almost 10 years. She keeps bringing up things like who do they want when they are sick, or I'm the one who tells them I love them in the morning before school. No crap, I'm at work when they get up for school. I pray to God a judge can see through this biased BS and understand how both of us have contributed to our kids' lives. Sorry for ranting. I didn't want things to head this way. I'm going to file for physical custody of my twin girls next week. My attorney advised that I file for primary physical custody with the W getting every other weekend and some weekly visitation. He wants to start off at the top so we can then negotiate down to what I really want, which is 50-50. I understand the concept of asking for more than you need, then compromise for what you wanted in the first place. But he doesn't know my wife. My asking for primary custody will set her off completely. Might make her go temporarily insane, and set the stage for an all-out custody war. I'm reluctant to set up that kind of a conflict. On the other hand, if I go in asking for 50-50, then I have no wiggle room to negotiate and could end up with less than I want. Update, custody consult. I met with my attorney yesterday to go over filing for custody of my 2 girls. He really put me at ease over my concerns about mothers. Girls having an advantage over a father's rights. My state has seen a lot of custody law changes in the last 20 years that basically put both parents on equal standing going into any custody deliberations. And it doesn't hurt that he's the same age as the judge and they used to practice law together. He says they have a good repair. The process starts off with me filing a custody claim, basically suing my STBXW for primary physical custody, 70% or greater, and joint legal custody, 50-50. Then she will get served papers. Then me, STBXW, attorneys, and judge meet for a conference. No testimony, exhibits, or evidence are allowed. It's only a conversation back and forth between the judge and parents to see where we stand on the custody issue. My attorney wants to use a positive strategy going into the conference. He wants to build me up to be the better parent, rather than tear her down. That comes later if necessary. And I have tons of examples over the years for him to use of how I've been a good father, a good provider, loving parent, etc. Also, the fact I have a really nice place to live secured, it's in the same school district, 2 minutes from the marital home are all in my favor. If we cannot reach an agreement during the conference, then a hearing will be scheduled. That's where I don't want to go. In a hearing there would be testimony, witnesses, evidence, and possibly interviews of the kids. This is where all the nasty crap would happen and I really don't want to go down that road. Exposing all our crap to the court and attacking each other will only make co-parenting that much harder afterward. I tried talking with the STBXW last night about custody for like the 5th time and it didn't go well. She has a huge amount of bitterness and anger welling up within her now that the D process has started, and as she starts to see the raw reality of what she's facing alone, she started saying nasty things to taunt and provoke me, like saying maybe I should beat her or push her to get my way, saying things about what a terrible husband I was. I didn't bite. At one point I laughed out loud, which really pissed her off. She says, "You think it's funny, but just wait." I replied I'm chuckling because the things she is saying are just driving home the fact that I'm making the right decision to D and C custody. That shut her right up. After a long pause she huffs good night. She lay there for a long time before falling asleep, as did I. Seems her thoughts were keeping her awake. So, I plan to move forward with filing for custody. The claim should be written up today and I'll sign it this afternoon or tomorrow morning. Then it will be filed at the courthouse and she will be served. Again, my comment, do you think OP will get out of this nightmare? I will try to squeeze the ending into part 4. See you in part 4.